Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to I believe, the first cast of this season for VRML Breachers. Today we have an exciting game between, I was gonna say none other than Ivy, but it's Ivy Breachers Cadets and Horizon. My name is Martini. I have Old Gravy. I have Scorch on a casting booth with me today. How's everybody feeling?
Feeling dandy. I'm excited. I mean, yeah, first cast of the season. I mean, like, that's big. I mean, I'm stoked. Aren't you stoked?
I am very stoked for this, especially considering it is my first official cast. So I'm very excited to get into it. Hopefully it doesn't go too bad.
Yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, I think I did some practice casting in the off-season scores. It's all Juice helped you out. Like, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Juice over here doing a good job by any means. But hey, let's talk about what we're seeing in terms of the matchup today. Obviously, there's not much matchup information. 0-0 for both teams, so not even worth showing that screen. But Ivy Cadets here with 4 votes to Horizon's 73. So a lot of people in the community definitely expecting Horizon to win this one out. I mean, any thoughts on those connoisseur votes?
I would probably have to agree with that. I mean, we're talking the IVI Cadets. It's not obviously the main IVI. We're talking like New York Yankees versus a Pee-wee baseball team. So, I mean, they did lose their #1 hitter there as well, Gizmo, as he did decide to go ahead and bounce ship and head over to play with his buddies over on Aspect. So he kind of left them in the dust, and now they're off to fend against themselves, against Horizon in the first week's match. And I just think Horizon's just obviously just looking better. I mean, they honestly have a little bit better of a lineup, I would say. But hopefully, maybe IVI, we might see a little bit of an upset, and maybe they're here to prove themselves.
I would have to agree with you on those connoisseur votes. I just feel like Horizon has got the experience in hand, obviously, like you were saying, with Gizmo leaving. So now it is a fresh start. They're the new captain for the IVI Cadets. Hopefully they prove us wrong and it goes to be a pretty good game. But I did hear that Horizon was a bit of I don't want to say a retirement home, but I think a lot of these players are kind of joining this just to kind of have fun. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what the outcome is.
You know, I love hearing that. Looks like not the Chaos Cat. Didn't we change our name? Did we already change our name yet?
Not yet. Well, it's not announced that yet here, Martini.
Never mind. We'll see if the Chaos Casters can pick up a Horizon Challenge match this season. But hey, it looks like we are going to be hopping in to this upcoming map. I think you might recognize this one. Looks like we're going to Hideout. And there we go, Hideout.
I think this is a new map, Martini. They just
new map, yeah. I might have never seen this map before. I'm not sure. Gravy.
Not very
enlighten me.
I don't think people like it.
Have you seen this map before?
I think they teased it a couple of times, but I don't think the community likes it very much. It never gets played.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we know Hideout, chosen so many times. But hey, before we get into this first round, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to one of my personal favorite sponsors, Triangle Factory, for providing us with the game we love, of course, and for supporting season 5 now. Look at that 5, the big 5 of VRML. We've been going on for several years now. Think about that for Breachers, and we have been going, I think, pretty strong. This community is tight-knit. Everyone obviously has some strong opinions, and we've seen so many teams die and rise in Breachers. So here we go, first cast of the season, Horizon Ivy Cadets.
First cast, new updates as well. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of those what are those called, cyclones being used. A lot of them actually on both sides. That is a big change as well with C4. Both of those are probably going to be utilized quite a bit now. Reap's already starting off with a very early pick on Dami, as we see a Horizon very early lead, as they are going to be pushing in on offense.
Pushing the offense. Jimbo on the back, taking out Spencer. I was going to say the bot, but it looks like that actually is a real person with a bot name. And I banged. Oh my goodness, I'm not saying that name. I banged though, trying to take some shots over here. And they can't quite get any chip damage at land, but Ziru looking to see if they can get some picks here if they can.
I mean, they have the wall blown open. It's really about now just taking some space and getting some picks, but they do have actually the health disadvantage right now. They're not looking so hot right now. I'm sure those connoisseur votes might be a little shaky. I mean, it's very, very early and too early to tell. Melvin actually with a very early pick there onto Jimbo. That might be what they need to go ahead and get that little bit of wiggle room. Reeps is already on that side to go ahead and get that EMP planted. That's kind of what they need.
Yeah, I've been trying to move up, get some early shots. 1 minute still left on the round. Horizon, though, doing some good. 3 versus 4, but the health disadvantage kind of puts it in a different number. It looks like they are going to be going in for a switch on the attack of Syria. Final not down. They do get picked up by Melvin. Now wide open. It looks like they did a push in on the A side. Looks like it's been going the way of Horizon for round 1.
Horizon used a bit of a strat that I have seen used a little bit more often for that attack side, at least in ranked from what I've seen, where I talk about this a lot with Juice in casts. That top floor for A site is extremely hard to win for the defense. So usually attackers like to push towards that side. You saw Horizon started towards that side. A little bit of a rotate back onto the B side while you had players fake, and then they ended up fully pushing into bedroom. And as you saw, it was kind of a dominant fashion with 4 players still remaining up for Horizon. So it seemed like it worked pretty well using that split push, especially with that early pick, to kind of take control of round 1.
I mean, that goes the way of Horizon for round 1. Gravy coming into the second round now. We're on this site, and we've seen this site many times. We've seen so many pushes. Usually, I've seen people push for B. It looks like we might be getting a switch up, though, from Horizon. They're a lot more centered towards the A side.
I mean, yeah, this is definitely, like he mentioned earlier, kind of like a retirement home. I heard also mentioned it's kind of like a meme team, and kind of just use like funny weapons, weird plays that aren't really meta. As we're kind of seeing maybe a little bit of a hatch play, we don't typically see that too often in most play. To see if we're able to pull this off correctly, because if you get that planted, that's huge. I mean, you can just basically sit up there on hatch and just easy defense. They are indeed starting that plant, but he's just missing a wall bang. Can't get the kill. They cut the plant off, and they're already upstairs. That's going to be a it's going to be very hard for the defensive team to go ahead and come back from. But Jimbo, with a boost piece already, does go ahead and get pushed back, though, by Melvin. And it is a 3v3 situation, but it does look like it's going to be favoring Horizon so far. It's going to be very hard to go ahead and get the defuse on.
Yeah, you got Spencer. You got help on that third floor looking down onto that bomb. Now, it's not going to be good for them unless they have some kind of smoke, some kind of great flanking position. I don't think they have that help, though, picking up Dami. Now leaving only a 0 and a Dorfa, as they now have to somehow scrounge together this round. But here's the timer counting down. Spencer picking up a 0 on the back end, leaving just Dorfa's now, and that's going to be going the way of Horizon 2-0. Really good already for round 1. Sorry, round 2.
As Old Gravy was mentioning earlier, it is seemed to be a bit of a retirement home or going with meme plays, and you saw in the very beginning they were pushing towards that A, didn't even think about going towards garage, and it might partly be because of the addition of the new C4s. It has become a lot more difficult to push specific sites. Like I can think of a few sites in Factory and on Arctic where it becomes extremely defensive oriented because they were able to blow that wall first and not able to get them to rotate. So I think Horizon might have had that in mind, like, hey, this garage wall might be foamed early on. Let's not even focus on that. Let's go for A. If we go hot and fast, we might be able to catch them off guard, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, let's check out the scoreboard here. We're not seeing too much discrepancy, I think, in terms of top fragging or the rest of the team. We're seeing players like Melvin really stand out. Jimbo do a pretty good job on Horizon and Cadets, but we're coming now into this third round. Not quite much happening from Cadets. Melvin already taking out another one, though. Dorfa's down for the count.
Kind of see how they're already utilizing the new C4 as well, as they blew up that storage wall. I mean, that was the defense. That was not the offense. Who had to blew that up? How do we feel about that? Do you think we're going to see a lot more C4 used for defense very early on to get these long range kills?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to make some of these pushes. A lot of shots coming out here. Broad shot, taking out 2. Now it's 1v. Never mind. I get knocked down for the count. Horizon
Wow.
looking good. I mean, what do you think
Blink
about the
goes over.
C4 usage now? Sports?
I like the way that these teams are implementing the C4. I mean, I like how the new gadgets are being used. Like when the clone projector was first a thing, I thought it was going to be used a lot more heavy for the attacker side. Maybe plant the EMP, and then if you have enough time, put the clone there to kind of bait that somebody is there. You're able to swing up that refrag. Didn't seem like it was used that much for that, but the C4s are being used a lot more often, especially in these scrims that I have casted. The first challenge match that I casted yesterday, along with ranked games, where I have seen C4s being used a lot more, and it's getting these attacker teams to think twice about how it's going to happen. We're seeing a lot of new plays being implemented from each of these teams. And it seems like even though there was a couple of early picks, with that wall being open, they were not able to drop that storage hatch with that attack, and it became that much harder. But they still won with only 2 players remaining.
Yeah, I will say sometimes the C4 does remove the element of surprise for the attacking team at least, which I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of mixed. I feel like defenders tended to have a pretty solid advantage. I know it kind of shifted a little bit with the flashbang doing so well, but I don't know if they needed that much of a environmental changing. Now, deep there, Torta's taking a lot of chip damage. Horizon getting ready for this push.
We can see the C4 there. I mean, it does have technically 2 uses there, both for walls and just for straight up throwing people up. But yeah, I think the Horizon is a lot more confident now. I mean, obviously they have weapon advantage, but like, I mean, after this 3-0, they're just playing a little bit more aggressive and just pushing in there. I mean, they kind of have some rounds they kind of throw away a little bit. Because 3 on offense, I mean, you're already looking pretty good.
Dami trying to take some shots here. Knocking down the and Melvin there. Only 3 left now on the Breachers Cadet side. Looking really rough. Horizon great. Hex taking out another one.
Jimbo with the 2-piece. They do have EMP down, and they are already set up into that post-plant defense. I mean, we're kind of looking like that last round now when they were up on the hatch. It's going to be a very tough situation to go ahead and step back from. And Help does go ahead and take out their last player, giving them a 4-0 lead on offense. I mean, they're looking very, very strong right now.
So to go back to the C4s, like we have the past couple of rounds, the C4s can also be used as a grenade type. I've seen multiple times where C4s are being thrown and barely seen and killing 2, maybe 3 players. So the top floor is already hard enough to attack, defend. But with those C4s, you got a little bit more leeway. Now you have 6 pieces of util to be able to defend that plant. And even though it didn't go in the way of the IVI squad, it did look a little bit better than the first time around. They had 4 players up the first time around. This time they only had 3 players up. So not much of a difference, but a difference nonetheless. Being able to use those utils, especially in the later rounds, having the better guns. So yeah.
I'm curious to see what Horizon does in this round. I mean, Cadets, they are using removing cover earlier than they need to. It does make it harder for the attacking team, but Horizon, so much utility, so much in terms of cash on their side. They have their full buys right against Ivy. So hot. Reed taking out Assyria through the wall bang on top of that.
Yeah, they are looking very, very good right now. And again, just the aggressiveness, just everything of their whole team, just using their utility exactly how they need to. Not even blowing up the wall, just getting some wall bangs just early on. Jimbo doing around the corner, does find one, but quickly gets refragged by Reaps. Almost a very good flank right there. It's something that they definitely needed there. However, they did kind of turn it into their favor a little bit. 3v3, however, they do not have a lot of help. They did a grenade, almost taking themselves out. That would have been pretty funny to watch.
Reeps looking down. Hex looking towards to picking up another player. Getting a lot of early line fire. Not quite connecting. Someone accidentally flashbanging their team there from Hex. But hey, it doesn't matter. Dami, though, knocking down Hex for the count. Trying to see if they can pick up another one themselves. Deep swing knocks out Spencer. He's getting the one, but not the 2-0, knocking them down. Finally, 1 point down for the Cadets.
I like the way that IVI Cadets played this time. They played off of each other. You saw that final kill was a refrag. And you also saw Reeps in the very beginning get a pick through the wall. So even though they were already down man advantage early on, they did not panic. They sort of played as best as they could. They played with each other. Almost a self-damaged kill with that nade, but he was able to escape away. And even though they were very, very low, I've seen many situations where players are 1 HP still getting 2, maybe 3 picks out of that. So even though these players are very, very low, they were able to play off of each other and secure the win by getting that pick. And they are now finally have a point on the board. Hopefully they can surge this into a bit of a momentum boost. If they can win this second round, they might be able to push that forward and possibly winning a couple of more starting the second half.
Hey, I have to take a phone call. This is urgent. I'm sorry.
Okay, sounds like.
I know it's really important. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Okay. Sounds good, Gravy. If you don't mind hopping in then for a little bit, Scorch, help me out on this co-casting as we come into round 6, final round before the halftime. And again, Horizon still up 4-1, looking great for this half.
Yeah, so 4-1 indeed, and now it seems to be a bit of a stalemate here as now the wall is finally getting blown. You see a player sitting in waterfall. Horizon might be looking to go for a bit of an A rotate if this IVI Cadets team does not realize that it does look like there might be one in A sitting towards that window. So hopefully this does end up working out in favor of this Horizon squad and IVI does not catch this in time.
We do see Reeps, though, still putting a little bit of attention on the other side, but I think Cadets is pretty smart. They're pretty well spread out, still just B. I will acknowledge that. And I don't know if y'all noticed, I did look around the A side. Looks like they do have on the gadget. Go for the window coming in. Developing Spencer. Oh my goodness, Tommy! Getting the 3K in the end there.
And now Reeps and Help both get 2 picks of their own, and it is all up to Help and Reeps to try and take back this site and plant the EMP. It was good that IVI Cadets played this. They played for a bit of a retake and flooded the site. Jimbo with a pick on Reeps. It is all up to Help sitting in the smoke. But we see one player in that smoke. He picks out one with the headshot, but Jimbo immediately with the refrag, and now IVI Cadets wins their second straight round in a row to end this first half.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, look at this beautiful clip here from Dami. 1, 2, 3K on that swing. I don't think they were expecting to see that from Horizon, but, from the Cadets, but they did a great job on knocking them down for the count. And they at least got 2-4. 2-4 is not great, but it's not terrible either. They're on the attacking half right now. I think it's still something they can manage to really eke out and win.
So yeah, like I was saying in the previous rounds, since IVI Cadets won both of these previous 2 rounds, they can use that momentum moving forward. They have to get this first round off, though. I feel like if they get this first round off, they can spend their eco to win the second round and kind of snowball their way, but you don't want to force buy, because I see a lot of situations where players are force buying at 5-1, and that's why they end up losing, because they don't have the eco to build on for the rounds that are following.
I have to go. Martini, I'll talk to you about it later.
All right, sounds good. Later, Gravy. Have a good night.
Sorry about that.
You're good. Later, man.
Yep, later.
All right, looks like it's just gonna be us 2 tonight. Scorch, hopefully do have a little bit of sweep, so knocking out Jimbo as they go in for the swing. Not working out in their favor at all, as Horizon now 5-4, looking good. Again, this is barely the beginning of the round.
Still a bit of a stalemate as IVI Cadets is now finally starting to make their way into Garage. Still sitting right at that doorway. I think they're thinking about it. You see Assyria playing close. Now Help gets a pick onto IZ, and Assyria finally gets that pick onto Spencer. So we're looking at a 4-3 man advantage for Horizon, with Help now taking out Dami. So it is 4-2. It is not looking likely for IVI Cadets to win this first round.
Not at all. I mean, 4-2, this is going to be hard for them to recover. EMP's down, by the way, in the Garage. So there's not much they can do unless they can somehow eke out several picks. And it looks like Horizon did notice the EMP has been put down, unfortunately, by that Cadet. So we'll see. IVI Cadets, though, looking a little rough now for the first attack. I'm not feeling confident for them, but maybe they can eke out 1, maybe 2 picks here, and at least come out with some kind of consolation for this round. But a minute left on the round. It's counting down.
Melvin sitting in Garage with Help, trying to prevent these two players from pushing in. Does seem like they are now connecting to play together with iBang pushing up, but Help takes out iBang, and now because of that, Assyria is looking to back up. He does take out Melvin, but immediately gets refragged by Help. So good team chemistry by this Horizon team to secure round 7 and their 5th point of this first map.
2 more, and we're already going to be seeing map 2. We'll see what Horizon does. They're looking great, though, even on the defense. I think that all the community votes are probably feeling really good right now with this, what, 73-1? Did I remember that correctly? That it was a huge margin.
I do know. I think it was in the 70s or something like that. And yeah, so Horizon is living up to their name. They are taking control of this first map. On attack, they played aggressive and made IVI kind of be backed in a corner, and now on defense they're playing that same aggression, sitting in Garage, not allowing them to enter the building. I don't think we had a single player enter the building other than that last 10 seconds of that round where he eventually got killed almost immediately.
We'll see. I mean, Cadets looking fine, but not great. I think a lot of smack talking I could definitely say in the chat tonight about how the Cadets performance has been going, which it makes sense. They've been kind of having lackluster rounds the last couple. And remember, this isn't Ivy, this is the Ivy Cadets. It is their B team. So these are, and I think this is the first time they've had a B team that they're actually running for the season. So these are going to be inherently project players, right?
Yeah, and you already see that hatch is blown on storage. So it looks like Ivy might be playing a little bit aggressive on that storage side, might be going for a bait, actually. It seems like they could possibly be going for that A hatch. I'm not quite sure what the plan is currently, but you see Spencer sitting in this arcade side, trying to prevent these players from pushing up onto Waterfall, and there is 2 players. Now that proxy goes off, Spencer is able to push up and take out IZ, but Assyria with the immediate refrag.
We're going to be seeing a pinch pretty soon from the Cadets. Looks like they are going to be able to get control of this little storage room. Help, though, looking through a little cheeky angle. We'll see if they can pick up Dami. As Help, no, gets picked up by Tortas on the back end. I don't think they're expecting someone to actually run through the breach wall.
iBang is now in sight, looking to possibly plant the EMP. If EMP is tossed over to him, Jimbo takes out Hex with that aggressive lean, trying to get a second pick behind that box, but Reef's able to refrag Assyria. Melvin takes out Jimbo, and now it is a 2v2, but EMP is down, so these Horizon players have to play in the hand of IV, and they have to do it quick, or else this could go in favor of IVI Cadets. You see Melvin pushing up, a little bit of damage done, pushes up, takes out 1, but Dami with the double pick onto Melvin and Reaps. What a clutch by Dami there, sitting in the back half wall.
I mean, check out this replay. I got a beautiful catch of it. 1, 2. They were not expecting to have Dami come out from the corner, and that was a beautiful clutch up in the end. I will say, hey, 3 and 5. Maybe there is some life left in the Cadets here. Maybe we were being a little too harsh on them.
It's possible. It's possible, especially if they can win this next round. It's all about snowballing and all about momentum in this game. If you can win the next couple of rounds, so now because Horizon has lost, they have that eco disadvantage with starting with 1,500 as a minimum.
Yeah.
Versus having IV now, I think it was like 2,800 if you win. So it's nice to be able to have that eco. Now Ivy needs to use that money to spend it wisely, get a couple of guns and the necessary util, and it does seem like that they are going to be spending it. You see those guns, you see a Cadillo in hand, especially with that buff allowing to basically shoot like a Spectral and still having that one headshot capability.
We'll see how the Cadets handle this upcoming round. Looking a little bit better, not as worse for wear as we have been seeing the last couple rounds, because I will say it was a little harsh. And as much as people were a little hard in the comments, I can agree with some of the things they were saying as we are getting ready for this upcoming round. 30 seconds already in. Nothing quite happening, except just be mindful. They do have a roamer in Hex down there. We'll see if they can get some value doing that.
Roamers can be deadly. If Hex is not seen, he could get a couple of picks himself and possibly stop this push altogether, but currently he is not seen. There are 4 players in lobby for this IV squad looking to push up, possibly below the wall. Currently still nothing being done as iBang pushes down and takes out that roamer and Hex. So now that roamer is a non-factor. IVI Cadets can push up freely, but they should still possibly have a roamer because we can see what happens, but they can't. So maybe they could have a flank watch.
I mean, so much chip damage coming out from Horizon against Ivy. Not looking great. It's beautiful, though. Incendiary knocking out Melvin for the count. Almost a counter Incendiary coming out from Horizon, but it didn't quite land the way they needed. As Spencer pulling in a little bit deeper, a little forward to really hold down this position for the time being.
Reaps and help along with Spencer in sight for their squad. Dami goes to push up. EMP is planted. A little bit of damage done now. iBang takes out Spencer, but help able to get that kill on Dami with the static. So a very rare kill, but nonetheless, it did occur. So now it is all up to Reaps and help to secure any sort of possibility to win this round. Reaps pushing up, looking to see if there's a player in that corner. He does take out Assyria, takes out Jimbo on the flank, takes out iBang, and now it is a 1v1 against IZ, who is sitting on the hatch. If Reaps is able to get this EMP off in time, now IZ drops the hatch with that info. Flash goes out. Reaps gets flashed, does not get picked, and now IZ takes out Reaps. So even though Reaps was able to get that 3K, IZ was able to clutch it up for his team. Now they have won 2 straight, looking to tie it up.
I'm so glad that I was able to somehow get this 3K. Reaps coming in with a 1 on the side, 2 in the back. They're looking beautiful. I mean, the community votes might be getting a little nervous now. I mean, 4 and 5, momentum's really picking up. I'm wondering, can they do this?
It's possible, especially now that they're winning these rounds. They're winning in a row. You notice a difference between winning 2 rounds in a row versus winning 1 round, losing, and then winning again. That eco difference is drastic. So now that they have won 2 in a row, they're able to sit comfortably, buy guns. You see, we have 4 Vezins in the hands of this IV squad with a Viper. You only see 1 Marui on the other side with a Cadillo. The rest are SMGs. So on paper, this is looking favorable for IVI to clutch this up.
It is. I'm waiting to see if they can really pull through in the end. We'll see what happens here as we come in now to round 10 of this game. 5 and 4 Cadets maybe going to be able to equalize this, as Horizon does not go for the C4 on the corner there. I'm kind of curious their decision making. But I will say the economy was kind of rough for Horizon, so I can see why they wouldn't do that.
Foam is on the wall for this IVI Cadets squad. Drone goes out, tries to drone the top floor, realizes nobody there. So this IVI squad can push up and foam that hatch like they did the last time. It does seem like that they have foam on the hatch and the wall. So it does look like to be a bit of the same play that we saw last time. Hopefully different outcome for this IVI Cadets squad. A minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. They are still waiting patiently, kind of keeping Horizon guessing. Now that wall is blown, help sitting, watching any sort of entry from that. Flashes go out, still nothing as a proxy goes off. Assyria takes out Reeves, looking to take out a second, but Spencer refrags.
A 0 goes in. They do see Spencer Jimbo on the back to really recover and maybe give them some syringe help, because it looks like, oh my goodness, Dortha's on the back and knocking out help. And it looks like Melvin with their own pick at this point. B-side is wide open. This is the time to get the plant off. Can they get the timing down right? No! The Incendiary comes in, blocks it off for the time being. A lot of chip damage for both players. Melvin, though, full health against two different players. I don't know. This is going to be a tight round.
It will be pretty close, but even though these players are low, a headshot will still kill Melvin, I believe, from that range. A Vezin, it might do 99, so they might need to hit 2 bullets, but the EMP does go down. Melvin not able to get that pick off onto Tortas, but he does get a lot of damage still, so now he is on 1 HP. Throw a pebble on him, he's dead. 11 bullets in hand for Melvin, and he pushes up but gets taken out by Jimbo. So even though they had the lower health, they were able to clutch up, and now it is all tied up for this IVI Cadets. These connoisseur votes are sweating.
Sweating indeed. 5-5. Looking really good right now for Cadets. I will say that was still a close round. That was still a very close round in the end, so I'm not going to give them too much credit, but I cannot not acknowledge the fact that they've been doing so good the last couple rounds. So many back-to-back rounds. And to your point, that's great in terms of economy. They get to really stack up that cash and do a good job. And we're seeing that Horizon still is feeling the impacts of that economy, right? A couple of full buys, but that's it. We're not seeing the same thing on IV's side. We're seeing full buys all around and still a lot of cash in hand. I mean, Jimbo, Dami, Dorthas, Zero, so much cash, and we still have several rounds to go. This might be one of the crazier comebacks I've seen, and I gotta say, this is the first cast of the season, so that's kind of crazy. I'm just saying, it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this round will play. If IVI Cadets can win this round, they secure at least map points, possibly securing the overtime round. So it's looking up for this IVI Cadet squad, as they had the money to buy all the util they wanted, all the guns they wanted, and it seems to be paying off as they are able to push into this lobby side with ease, as the util and guns are both a little lacking on this Horizon squad.
I'd be wondering, are we going to a map 3 today? You know, if it's gonna be this close and it's only map 1, I'm curious how map 2 is gonna be. Is it gonna be a counter pick? I forgot which team was the home team for this one, so I'm kind of curious who chose Hideout. But I've always said Hideout to me is a equal map, so the fact is, if they have this close of a matchup on Hideout, I expect every other map in terms of skill-wise to be similar, unless they choose a very particular map, something like Mall or something like Skyscraper, because one team just really does well on it.
Nade goes out in the back of sight, does not get any damage. However, those Horizon players were able to tuck in just in time. Player pushing up for this IV Cadet squad, but Spencer with an S-tier frag onto Assyria before he was able to plant that EMP. Now Spencer is looking to get a second pick with the util, as he's just sitting, waiting patiently, as well as Melvin, waiting for any sort of noise. So this is looking tough as the C4 goes out, but surprisingly doesn't get a pick. It only does 15 damage on one of these players, but with that Incen, he is still able to get the EMP off. Jimbo takes out Reaps, Hex takes out Jimbo, so now it is a 2v3, but these Horizon players need to play in the hand of this IVI squad.
I honestly did not think they stuck the EMP, but oh my goodness, they somehow managed it. Dami now having to somehow figure out how to deal with and get picks on these two players. No, Hex knocking down Dami, leaving just a 0. They got to stick the plant at this point. Help is going to go for it. What does Bob say? Pros don't fake, and they definitely didn't fake. There's a 0 who's not going to be able to get the pick. Melvin knocking them down for the count.
Horizon able to stop this IVI Cadets win streak in its tracks, but not without fight. There were 3 players remaining, but 2 of them were very, very low. So IVI Cadets could have gone either way, especially with that EMP being down. If that player didn't drop from hatch, who knows? If that player was in a different position, might not have been able to give up that info from dropping that hatch. Maybe if they were sitting box, they were able to get a couple picks, whatever it was. But you did see that the players stick in the insen, and I like it when players throw insens at me, because at least it's not a insta kill. At least I can work with, hey, I know I'm gonna die. Instead of pushing out, let me just try and finish it. And that's exactly what the IVI Cadets did.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta stick it, I think, in the end, because if you're gonna die, to your point, if you can die anyways, you might as well just finish the plant. And I think that works both ways, right? If you're also trying to go for the defuse, especially in a moment like that where it's 3, you have 2 other teammates, you gotta just stick it. Some people get a little scared, right? They hear the bullets flying around, and they get a little scared. They pull their hands off, and sometimes that is the difference. Sometimes the defuse is the way to win, and we'll see what the cadets do for this final round. We're seeing a very widespread attack, I think, right now between all of their players all over the map. They got to do something interesting here. It's the last round. Obviously, they can get to overtime. I would love to see how they manage that, how they manage to win.
A little bit of a spread play, like you said. It might be because they might be going for A, but trying to maybe bait out these Horizon players and just keep them guessing. I think if you instill a little panic into your opponent, it could go a long way, especially waiting for these times. You don't want to wait too long, as the hatch does get blown. Flash and nade both go out. No hits, however, on either of those. Insen gets tossed, but unfortunately hits a corner for this IVI Cadet squad. Still all 5 players up for both of these teams. Now Melvin, as I was speaking, takes out Assyria, making it 5-4 in favor of Horizon.
Jimbo knocking out Spencer on the back end. I don't think they were expecting that one. A 0 knocking down Melvin for the count. Only 3 left now in Horizon. It looks like this win might be slowly crawling its way away from Horizon, unless they have something to say about that.
Ibangs dropped immediately into A site. Help takes out Jimbo. And Dami and IZ takes out 2 players, but Hex able to take out 1, and Dami takes out Hex. So now we will see that overtime match that you were wishing for, and let's see how this works out, as I'm not sure what team does pick.
Yeah, I think who ended up choosing it looks like the Cadets had. Oh yeah, the Cadets. No, never mind. It was Horizon. I gotta swap teams. Looks like Horizon had choice here. 13,000 points to 11,000 for the Cadets. So Horizon decided to go with their attacking side.
And I think it was a smart choice. They were 4-2, and if it wasn't for those 2 rounds that Ivy was able to pull off, it would have been 6-0. So it was looking all up for this Horizon squad on the attack. Hopefully they can find that same spark and that same chemistry after kind of fumbling the last couple of rounds, putting it into overtime. But it really is all evened up with the eco being even for both of these squads. It is basically 0-0, and the first one to win this wins.
And here we go into the upcoming round. A breach coming out already from Horizon. Obviously, the incendiary to really slow down that attack from Cadets, but that's only going to save them about 10 seconds on the clock, as this defense is just going to be waiting patiently for this Horizon attack to develop.
Jimbo sitting over in A with Assyria playing that storage area along with a player in Waterfall. So it looks to be another hatch drop for this Horizon squad. You see a lot of hatch drops into storage for this match in general. You saw both teams use it quite often. Now another hatch is being blown on back A to possibly prevent any sort of rotate from this IVI Cadets squad. Still 5 players up for both teams. A minute has gone off on the clock. So you got to think, could it be in favor of the defense now that the attack has wasted so much time?
I mean, a minute left. I don't know. It's kind of slow. No one's gotten a pick yet. I would almost say it's open, like even, but there's a lot of open holes for Horizon to really utilize, and that's gonna, I think, give them a slight favor because you don't quite know where they're gonna be coming from. They could be coming in from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, different holes against the Cadets. So we'll see if they can hold the pressure. Seriously, a lot of chip damage getting picked up, but it doesn't matter. Cross refrag by their teammate, leaving the 4-4 right now. Minute left though. Horizon's got to make some kind of action.
A lot of team chemistry, as we saw. One player gets killed, another immediately refragged. Now Dami looking to get that pick. I don't know, another player, but Hex takes out Dami, so was just barely unable to not see him as Spencer and Melvin push up. Spencer takes out 1 and Jimbo. IZ takes out 1, takes out 2. Looking to get that 3rd pick. He needs to get these last 2 picks to clutch it up for his team. EMP's going down, making a lot of noise, but pushing up. Does not get that pick, but is unable to reload in time. And Spencer takes out IZ and secures map 1 on overtime, nonetheless, for Horizon.
Part of me wanted a 0 to get it. It was so close. 1v2. They kind of knew what was going on, where relatively a lot of the players were, but I mean, Horizon, we got to say community votes might be correct on this, but maybe not to the length or strength that they had thought. I don't know if 7 and 6 is constitutes a 74-4 vote. It's kind of insane, but I guess if you're gonna be right, you know, maybe everyone could see which team is gonna be that good. But hey, as we come into this second map, we'll see what they end up choosing. But any last words? I think we're gonna take a quick break right before we hop into the map too.
Good rounds for both Horizon and IVI. Even though IVI Cadets seemed to have been counted out tenfold, they were able to come back and at least make it into overtime. So I'm excited to see what map number 2 brings, and I'm kind of curious as to see who picked the first map.
Yeah, let me double check. I think it's always the one on the left side. So it looks like Cadets were the home team for this game. So Cadets chose Hideout. Theoretically, they could have chosen side. That's always a possibility. I think it's kind of weird, but they probably chose Hideout. So it looks like this would be a cross chose by Horizon, and it looks like they're going to be choosing Factory. We'll see if they go right into it. I do see some team swapping, so we'll go to a quick break. We'll be back in just a second.
Prepare to start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's spotted in the bottom, going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
All right, looks like we are going to be hopping right into the action as these teams are going to be going into Factory. I think it's a game and a map that we recognize, and it's been here since the beginning of the game. I always say the bread and butter of Breachers Cadets coming in off of a loss. A tight loss, but a loss nonetheless, 7-6. I mean, Scorch, do you think they have what it takes to win this one? I would say in terms of skill level and expression, I think Hideout and Factory are very comparable. So if they lost on Hideout, I would dare say Cadets might lose on Factory.
I would agree with you if it didn't start on the defense, as Factory is known to be a pretty defensive map, as we already see 2 picks coming out, 1 from each squad. So IZ and Spencer both already down for their squads. Dami sitting to play aggressive there on lockers. So hopefully I don't eat my words. I think that Ivy has a better chance of winning this map than they did Hideout just because of where they started.
Yeah, we see Horizon coming out with the craziest attacking plays on this map. I'm just going to laugh and think, you know, I think they're chalked, at least against Horizon. We're seeing some sounds come out. Dami and Assyria really holding down locker rooms, waiting for this attack to develop by Horizon. I will say Horizon already up. Sorry, never mind. They're even, not up 4-4 for both of these teams, but I'm kind of hesitant to say Horizon's got this one in the bag already.
Pushing up, EMP is already looking to be planted by the Shadow, so it's looking less likely, as all Horizon needs to do is go up on that hatch. Help takes out one, Shadow takes out another, and iBang now Help pushing up towards that hatch. So I ate my words the first round, at least for this point in time. It is practically unlosable, I would say, for this attack side if they have that EMP planted, especially with the amount of players that they have up. All they need to do is just bait and bait until the time runs out. I don't even think at this point they would have enough time with those 3 players sitting up. It does look like Jimbo and Assyria both looking to push up. Assyria tries to tap the EMP but gets shot from behind by Help. There's a little bit of damage done onto him. Now Jims takes out one in Assyria and takes out Jimbo. So we see 2 new players coming in for Horizon, and Jims and Shadow already making an impact on map 2.
Jim's coming in the end with a 2K, and you're right. I'm gonna be honest. I think I've seen, out of the many times someone has actually gotten the plant down and has not 1 but 2 players on the hatch, I think I've seen 1% of defending teams be able to somehow recover that. And I'm not gonna say it's that insane, but it's somewhere up there. It's somewhere in the 90. I feel like that success rate once you get the plant down is essentially 90% plus. Like there's just you basically guaranteed that win. I've seen very few times, and it's always insane because it just does not happen. So I felt for the Cadets. I saw the plant. I saw the people on the hatch. I'm like, you know, let's call it round 1. I hate to say like, I'm like, let's just call it, especially with the numbers disadvantage. It'd be different, right? If there was maybe like 4 versus 2 or 3 versus 2, maybe you can kind of do something there, but it's too hard.
The only time I can think of that the defense almost won is with Hotline sitting up on top of hatch. It was Cassid. He was sitting up on top of hatch in a 1v4, but he ended up clutching it on that 1v4 because he had a perfect blind fire onto the EMP. So if you play your cards right on that hatch, it is practically unlosable for the attack. But second round has now commenced, 2 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock. Horizon looked to be a bit of an off-meta play again, as we've seen multiple times in the first map, as they are now pushing up towards this B side. Wall is foamed and blown. Now Shadow pushes up and tries to take out any players inside as Dami's sitting close. Insen goes out. A lot of chip damage done onto these players, but still no kills, as Shadow now gets killed by IZ. Tortas gets a pick. Help and Jims both get a pick, so Blank and you miss it. It is now a 3v2 in favor of this IV squad.
Zero really leaning over, maybe trying to get a sneaky pick. Never mind. Jimbo and Assyria go for the swing on a jump patch, of reverse jump patch, as Reaps now having to deal with a 2v1 situation. Not looking great, as they do get knocked down for the count. Horizon losing to Cadets. I think first time we've seen it in a while, where they looked pretty even early on in the game. I know the previous game, Cadets didn't catch up for a while.
So yeah, it's even early on, but you saw that Vezin in hand for the Horizon squad, so it did not pay off. Not only did they lose a Vezin and that eco, IVI Cadets also gained that eco by gaining a free 3,500 for the Vezin plus the attachment, so they're able to push that towards util for this round. So it's always risky to full buy the second round, especially with that eco boost that happened a couple of years ago where the Vezin used to be 2,900. It was a lot easier to be able to do it. So now it is showing to be a lot more difficult, and currently IVI is punishing them for making that crucial mistake.
Yeah, that's why I'm always hesitant on hero buys on second round now, because to your point, the eco choice is so much higher. The risk is so much higher than it ever was, right? 3,200 minimum, right? Without attachments, it's risky. It's challenging. So I like to see the teams that do decide to do it. Maybe, you know, on a map like this, I'm not sure. Maybe if I would have done something on that, on like a attacking side, right? Anyways, Dami knocking out Gyms for the count, leaving only 4 on the Horizon side already.
Incen goes out, so Shadow is unable to push up with his team. Now that Incen is off, Horizon in full control of the storage, but that hatch is blown. So good use of the C4 by these IBI Cadets squad to be able to keep control and now Help might get killed by IZ, and he does get that pick onto Help. So 3-5 man disadvantage already for this Horizon squad. It is looking all up if you are IBI Cadets fans.
Looks like that frag going out 1v4 right now for Reaps. Not looking great. Somehow they have the manages. Dami getting knocked down for the count. Jimbo looks like they're going to come in potentially with that C4 hand. Reaps getting another pick against IZ, leaving just 2 in Assyria and Jimbo. I'm not sure if they're aware. They're on the second floor. They popped that hatch earlier. Let's see if they'll pop this hatch too. My guess is they will.
Reaps sitting all alone in a 1v2. So yes, the C4 is on the hatch. All Reaps needs to do is tick the EMP, and it's basically a jump scare from these IBI Cadets players as they are electing to sit storage hatch, possibly seeing that Reaps might rotate. So Reaps is looking for any bit of info, possibly a pick, making it a 1v1, making it a little bit easier. But you see both the Vezins in hand for these IBI Cadets, and one has a stim. So if Reaps can't get that full kill, he'll be able to stim in time. 32 seconds left on the clock. So Reaps needs to come up with something in order to clutch this round.
This has got to be nerve-wracking, right? There's no movement from the IV side. You have no idea where they could possibly go. Reaps, I think, realizing, hey, this site is wide open. I'm going to go for the plant. I'm wondering, does IB know where the plant even is at? Assyria and Jimbo now coming in and seeing if they can retake site.
So I actually thought EMP was already planted, but it is not, as he was able to pick it up and plant it somewhere else. So Reaps is looking to save that plant as he takes out one in Assyria, and now it is a 1v1. Jimbo pushing up, trying to get the pick, but Reaps with the clutch. I believe it was a 1v4 clutch by Reaps. Good job by him to secure round 2 for this Horizon squad in, I would like to say, pretty amazing fashion.
This is one of those moments where I think Cadets just overstayed their welcome. Obviously, they can't see this. I will acknowledge that they didn't see this, but honestly, it might have just been good to just pop that hatch and just see what happened. You knew the Horizon player was down there. You knew they were in that site. Maybe try to get a good angle on them. And you know, if they had seen the EMP, they could have just camped it too at that point. Sometimes you just gotta send it, right? I feel like they might have been too careful there, is my imagination. And obviously it allowed Horizon to come in, walk through a whole site, find the most optimal place to plant it, and plant it there. So they gave the Horizon player, funny enough, too much time.
To your point, IVI Cadets, they played a little bit too scared. I see a lot of teams play too scared and end up losing. I've gotten a lot of advice from top tier players. It's just like, hey, listen, you're playing well, you play too scared. So it ended up costing this squad playing like you said, giving away too much time. and not playing a little bit aggressive. Even though they had the man advantage, they did not have site control.
As you were taking a lot of chip damage there from Incendiary. Spencer knocking them down for the count, leaving just 4 on a Cadet side. I mean, honestly, this is going round for round at this point. I'm getting a little worried, but Horizon, 2 attacking rounds is impressive on the Factory. I'm still inclined to think with this performance, I wouldn't be shocked if the Cadets lost it. Horizon is doing really good on the attack.
And this is the same push that Horizon did before, where now the cubby wall is blown. Hopefully IVI is able to rotate and kind of play off that. You see iBang pushing up, trying to get any picks. Now he tucks in that corner, so if these players don't realize that he's in that corner, he could be detrimental to the round. It does seem like that a player is on a lean peak. Reaps takes out Jimbo on that Lockers side in sight. So now he is pushing up Spencer, but Dami takes out Spencer, and now James is looking to plant the EMP, but Shadow pushes up and takes out a player in Dami, but gets refragged. James takes out one. iBang takes out another, but Reaps able to refrag to secure round 3. So it was blow for blow, but now Horizon has secured 2 rounds in a row.
I don't know. It's looking. They're attacking. Remember, they're attacking right now. They're not on defense and getting all these points. Like 3-1 on the attack is great. We've always said this, because as we mentioned earlier, it's a defender-sided map for Factory. That means an attacking round is technically worth more than a defending round, right? In terms of like how hard it is and how much more important it is to get those kind of rounds, but. I'm worried. I'm getting worried for them, and I'm wondering, can they come back? Can they do something about this?
I'd have to agree with you. I like a good underdog story, but it doesn't seem like IVI Cadets currently has any answer for this aggressive attack that Horizon is showing. But if they tie it up again with that momentum, winning 2 in a row going into the second half, they could use that to kind of win more. I've seen weirder things happen. I've seen a couple of times where I feel like I'm like, oh, we got 3 rounds and end up losing. So I don't know. It's tough to tell, but it looks like it is all looking up for this Horizon squad.
Tough to tell indeed. Tough to tell indeed. We'll see what ends up happening here with Horizon. 3-1 though for this 5th round. I will say I do like the C4. It kind of forces teams to get a little more creative. I think that's why we're seeing more of these like off-meta pushes, because they can just pop a wall early and they don't have the same safety that they used to before, right?
Yeah, and now Spencer blows that wall. So I've seen a couple of teams use the C4 to play orange. IVI Cadets elect to not do that. So now Horizon has control of this orange site, or orange side, looking to push up into site, possibly get a couple of picks before planted the EMP. Nate goes out on the fire, but no damage done as Jim now looks to Jims looks to push up. Does not get a pick, however. Still at a stalemate, 5-5. Now Dami takes out help. iBang takes out Reaps and takes out Shadow. Jims takes out one. Now Jimbo takes out Jims, and now a 1v2. Now 1v1 as Spencer takes out one and Jimbo. Now it is all up to Assyria to possibly give his team a chance to tie it up for the second half. Looking to push up a little bit, waiting for that EMP to tick off. Spencer now getting aggressive towards Assyria. Will we see a connection? No, they just barely don't see each other. Now Assyria pushes up. It is timing at this time, folks, as Spencer looks to push into Warzone. And what is there? War Room, excuse me. What is this? Now Spencer goes on the flank and takes out Assyria. So that timing, it was like cat and mouse there. It's just barely unable to see each other. It was a game of inches, but Spencer takes out the final player in IVI Cadets and now goes up 4-1.
I know that's got to be terrible to watch for, I think, the person on the receiving end of that, right? You watch the cast later and you're like, oh man, if I had just turned a certain way. And I always tell people,
So
like,
close.
you can't think that way. It's because again, we're omnipresent, right? We can see everything at all moments. So it's kind of different. I always try to acknowledge, as much as I give the players a hard time sometimes, I have to acknowledge we see things so differently than them. I could imagine 10,000 different things. Obviously, if I had wall hacks, right, I could see everyone through walls and everything, but that's not the case for these players. So they did the best they could there, but it was so tight, and it's always exciting to be like, wow, if you had just done a certain thing a little bit earlier, it would have been fine. But hey, 4-1 for Horizon. Again, still looking in really good form against the Cadets right now. I was kind of curious to see how the Cadets would play. I know some people said they're kind of a wild card team just because people don't know what their performance is yet.
I would have to agree with you. I feel like, especially with that first round going into overtime, it seemed to be a bit of a wild card team. However, they aren't playing like a wild card team in this second map, but we have seen stranger things happen in Breacher's VRML. Again, 5 seasons now. So nonetheless, Shadow tries to push up with Spencer taking control of this storage side. So no C4 usage currently for this IVI Cadet squad. As you see Horizon looking to go for a bit of a rotate onto A. Every player pushing up into Janitor now takes control of that wall. Foams the wall, looking to blow quick and push up. Second wall is now foamed and blown. Now A is in complete control of Horizon. Bit of a flood retake for this IVI Cadet squad. EMP gets down, but not before they were able to get a pick onto Horizon. So still 5 players remaining as iBang finally takes out Jims. Looking to take out a second, but Assyria able to get refragged. Jimbo takes out 1. Spencer and Help both take out 1 of their own.
I gotta say, I do think there's more variety now because of the C4. Like, for example here, they knew the Cadets would play 2 or 3 players deep on that second floor, so they know they can go for an off meta push on A and still win successfully. I mean, look at this right now. Spencer picking it up, getting that 2K in the end. Horizon 5-1 on the attack, and they've been doing a lot more off meta pushes.
5-1. You don't like to see that if you are an IVI Cadets fan, as they started on the defense, not looking likely this could be a 7-1 shutout, but I believe in these IVI Cadets. I feel like if they can play aggressive, get control, especially with this site, if they can get control of that cubby area just like Horizon did, they can give them a taste of their own medicine, plant the EMP down, and have all those players sitting up on hatch waiting for that EMP to be ticked, and it's going to look more favorable for these IVI Cadets, but they need to work in hand.
That indeed. I did want to give a quick shout out to Plone or P-Lone. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry for the $2 super chat. It says, Martini, you have to flip. I don't know if I can do a flip, but I did say I'm willing to do a cartwheel. And honestly, just for that, I'll do a little quick cartwheel, I think, at the end of the stream. So if you guys want to stick around and see me do cartwheel in the background, I'll do it for y'all. Y'all know I love to give a little bit of attention to everyone in there. But hey, as we come now into the second half, 5-1 right now for these two. Someone says cartwheel of Ivy, flip for Horizon. Nope, I think Horizon's definitely winning. So let's flip that. If Ivy somehow comes out of this, I will attempt to do a backflip, and I might break my neck in the process. But I'll definitely do a cartwheel.
You better keep your word on that.
I'll definitely do a cartwheel with Horizon winning, and Spencer knocking down the count. Already 5-4 for Horizon.
Assyria with a team damage on himself, so now 5-2 as Spencer takes out Dami. Not looking likely for these IVI Cadets, as Horizon has stopped them in their tracks. IZ almost gets taken out as he was vaulting out the window. Jimbo now pushes up, but gets taken out by Shadow, and Jims takes out IZ. So a flawless round coming from Horizon to secure at least map point and overtime point against this IVI Cadets team.
They're looking good. Horizon's looking so good. 6-1. You're defending. You have not full buys, but obviously you're probably going all in. I think at this point you got a lot of economy behind you. And Cadets, you got one. You got one round. Probably going all in yourself on economy. I mean, what do you think, Scorch? Is there any way to come back from this? You have the second floor now for the Cadets. How do they attack it? How do they approach this any differently? Is it even possible?
I want to go back to what I said the previous map. It is possible, especially being up 6-1 and 5-1, as we've seen snowballing with economy. You see a bit of a, I want to say almost a full buy from this Horizon squad. You see a Cadillo in hand of Reaps, and Help has that Arill. So 2 full buys coming from them, and then the others buying util. So this eco, if this Horizon squad loses, you're giving them those guns on the Cadet squad, and you're losing that eco, so they can snowball their way. It is possible. Is it likely? Probably not, but I have seen it happen before.
I have, and I don't know if that'll happen here. We'll see Cadets try their best to come back and claw their way back to victory, because here's the thing. Even if they win this one, they still have another 5 rounds to try and win, right? 6-2. They still need to win 7-6. Go all the way to overtime. Win overtime. I just don't know if they got it in them. We've seen a good performance, but nothing amazing. Shadow knocked down one, but gets refragged by Tortas. We have only a 4-4 right now. I don't know.
4-4, but iBang is pretty low at 28 HP. So it is looking unlikely, but I believe in these Cadets squad. If they can come up with some sort of play to push up, and it does seem like they are going to be going for an orange play with these Horizon players defending this war room area. And now we see IVI Cadets going for a bit of a rotate, doing it quietly. Now that orange hatch is foamed by Jimbo, but able to push back. And now these players are pushing up into B, and a good rotate by this IVI Cadet squad as Assyria pushes up, but Reaps takes out 2. IZ and Jimbo take out 1, and Jims takes out the other, but Reaps on a 1v1 able to refrag onto Jimbo, and that is all she wrote. But it was close. I mean, like, all they needed to do was take out that one player. And even the previous map, if they were able to get that final overtime round, we could have been seeing a map 3.
We could have, should have, but unfortunately we are not. 7-1 for Horizon. They did win this one out. Obviously, as if you're unaware, this is a best-of-3 series, so you only need 2 maps to win out a full series. Horizon looking really good, 7-6, 7-1 for map 2. Unfortunately for the Cadets, the community votes were correct. 73-4 is a little brutal to see, but they unfortunately were correct. I mean, Scourge, any standout moments you had seen from this game today?
I like the use of the C4 that both of these teams had. There was a couple of times where the C4 was used to reflood site, as we saw in Factory, where when A was in complete control by Horizon, IV was able to use that C4 to blow that hatch and kind of have another angle. So I like the use of the C4s. Could have been used a little bit more, probably. I saw a bit of interesting plays from that, but I do like the way that both of these teams played.
I do indeed, and I did agree to doing a little, I didn't say a flip, I'm gonna do a little cartwheel. So I'll do a little cartwheel for the stream, so I'll show it in the background. Sorry, Scorch, you're gonna have to sit awkwardly as you can't even see my camera, right? You have to sit awkwardly you'll see it just look at the cast in a second. I'll be doing a quick little cartwheel, but I'll be back in just a second.
Hopefully it's a pretty good cartwheel. I mean, I can't see.
There's not much room in this in this bedroom. I didn't even think about that. It's kind of tight.
No, just give it your all.
I think I got it on camera. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute and a half. My back kind of hurts for that. All right, I think I got it on camera. I couldn't see it because I was in motion while doing it, so hopefully y'all were able to see that. We'll see what happens later, but anyways, thanks for coming out and watching another VRML Breachers cast. We appreciate seeing you all here today, and of course, remember to subscribe and leave a like. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully we see y'all in the next cast. Have a good night.